Okay, so I've always been a really big fan of the Razer Naga series, starting with the Razer Naga Hex, which I just love so much, and I fell in love with the whole shape of it and the size. It was just perfect for my hand. Eventually, of course, I would upgrade to the Razer Naga Trinity, where I would be able to change out my sides. And from this, I was actually able to learn how to use the 12-button side for even non-MMO games, because I don't really play MMOs that much. And, you know, it's been a good run. I've used it very often, and I've worn down the switches to the point where I had to re-solder in new micro switches because it started double-clicking. And I did this, you know, twice in the course of its lifetime, because I just used it so much, and it's always been a wired occasion of a mouse. And Razer has finally decided to update it to the Razer Naga Pro, which is wireless while still retaining the abilities of the Trinity. Let's talk about it. Yes, the Razer Naga Pro, the answer to the prayers of many Razer Naga users out there, and this isn't just a simple rehashed wireless version of the Razer Naga Trinity, as it's going to come packed with Razer's hyperspeed wireless technology as well as their latest Focus Plus sensor and their optical switches, ensuring that you have long durability in your switches. Now this mouse is also capable of being charged on the Razer Mouse Dock Chroma, which it currently does not come with. Alright, now let's take a look inside and see what we actually get. You'll of course get the mouse with a 12-button side panel, a 2-button and 6-button side panel. Hiding under the mouse panel is of course the wireless USB dongle, which can be plugged into the USB-A to micro USB adapter, which then connects to their cable in case you sit really far from your PC. You also get a manual, info card, and stickers. Taking a closer look at the mouse, it has not changed much from the Razer Naga Trinity, which I think is a good thing. The DPI buttons are shaped differently and now sit in a sort of a valley to prevent accidental presses. The valley also has gloss plastic, which is different from the previous models. The rubber grip for your pinky that sits on the ring finger rest has also been changed to match the current mice in their lineup, which I do find more grippy than the previous model. The side for the magnetic thumb button panels remains mostly unchanged, with the only real difference being an added slot to hold the wireless USB dongle, which also affected the side panels, which now have a slot for the USB dongle. Other than that, the panels have remained mostly unchanged aside from the grip. The hex panel, however, has had a major change, now set up in a 2x3 standard grid rather than its circular format from the past. There's also now only 6 buttons rather than 7. Also, unlike the other side panels, if we look really closely, the buttons jut out quite significantly, but this also allows us to figure out which button's which a lot easier. On to the bottom, we finally get some PTFE feet for them smooth glides, which we need on this boy. Now that aside, you'll also have 2 contact points, which are used to dock onto the mouse dock Chroma, which doesn't come with the mouse unfortunately. And another unfortunate thing is the input port on top of the mouse that's used to charge as well as power the mouse when it's in wired mode. While it is a micro USB port which is universal, the port itself is in a valley, which makes it semi-demi proprietary. There's even teeth on either side, which is something Razer always does, and I've always hated this because I can't use any cable I want, only their cable, as their cable is narrow enough and has the slots for the teeth on the mouse so it can fit in perfectly. On the bright side, the cable is the Razer SpeedFlex cable, so it should slide very well on your desk and feel light, and the other side is a USB-A, so you won't have any problems with compatibility. Now this mouse can go wireless by either connecting to the high-speed dongle or going into Bluetooth mode. Alright, I don't know about you, but when I find out that a mouse can not only do gaming wireless through a dongle, but also can do Bluetooth and go wired, I get super pumped. It's like a super good one and done mouse, like the only mouse I'm gonna need in my life. Because if I'm gaming at home or whatever, or gaming, I guess, out there, I just plug in the dongle. If I'm doing low level work, I don't need anything crazy, I just go Bluetooth mode, save my battery. If I ever run out of battery, plug it in, call it a day. If I'm at a tournament that forces me to only go wired, plug it in, call it a day. Regardless of what mode you're on, including wired, you can cycle through up to 5 different profiles that you have saved onto the onboard memory of this mouse, all of which, as you can see, are color-coded with the LEDs. While this means you won't need Synapse to access your profiles, you are going to need Synapse to set up the profiles, so do bear that in mind. You'll also need Razer Synapse if you want to customize the RGB LEDs on this mouse, which is actually pretty limited, as it's just the logo and the scroll wheel, as well as one of the side panels. And unfortunately, the numbers aren't all individually lit, it's one whole zone. For those curious, the Naga Trinity panels actually do fit on this mouse as long as the USB dongle isn't in it. Though I should note that the 7-button panel doesn't necessarily work all the way, as the number 7 is non-functional, as the official Pros panel only has 6 buttons. Now the Naga Trinity was never known to be a very light mouse, weighing 98 grams just by itself without any side panels. Now the Naga Pro weighs 96 grams and 97 grams with the USB dongle attached if you have it still in the mouse, and while this does seem to be pretty heavy, this is actually fairly impressive because Razer also put a battery inside the mouse, which is rated to last 100 hours. As for weight with the panels, with the 2-button side, it's gonna weigh 113 grams with the USB and 112 without. With the hex panel, it's gonna weigh 114 grams with the USB and 113 grams without. The 12-button panel is gonna weigh 117 grams with the USB and for some reason 115 grams without. So I guess there's some decimal points at the end or something. This mouse is by no means light. It's definitely on the heavy side. But in a market full of super light mice, it's nice to see a really heavy guy coming out every now and then, because some of us prefer heavier mice. Some of us like them big and chunky, you know? And like, it's great for people like me who are typically high sensitivity users, where we have typically higher sensitivities on our mice when we play games. And as expected, I had a really great experience gaming on this mouse. While the mouse design has been unchanged from its prior models, this isn't a problem as it's a very comfortable design already. What makes the Naga Pro even better is the fact that it's wireless and has PTFE feet, allowing it to have a greater freedom of movement as well as smooth glides with that movement. Now, the reason I find the Naga to be very comfortable probably has to do with the fact that it's a very fat mouse with a very tall high point at 43mm at its highest peak, which very comfortably fills in my palm. It also has a very nice comfort curve, which relieves strain in my arm over long periods of usage. Something pretty significant that most people won't notice is the fact that it has a ring finger rest, which is something that is very rare these days in mice in general. Now, when it comes to gripping this mouse is definitely more along the lines of a fingertip grip mouse or a claw grip mouse, especially if you have medium to large size hands. Now, this isn't to say that you can't like palm grip this mouse. You definitely can if you have medium to small hands, but by design it seems to favor claw and fingertip grippers. Now, when it comes to the comfort of the side buttons, the 2-button ones are enormous, so I'd say it's comfortable no matter what grip you're using. The 12-button side will take some practice to use, but is generally pretty comfortable, with only the 10 to 12 buttons being kind of hard to reach. With the 6-button side, it ended up being less comfortable than I thought it would be. While it was easy for me to differentiate all the buttons, reaching the middle 2 and the back 2 buttons took a little bit more effort than I would have preferred. While I definitely can get used to this, I do believe the buttons should have been shifted a little bit more forward. Alright, now this mouse is going to run you down $150. And that's not even including the Razer mouse dock chroma to dock it to charge it. That's going to cost you an extra $50. But right now there's a deal on the Razer website. If you buy both of them and use the promo code NAGADOC at checkout, you'll save $30 in the combo. And if that code didn't work, you're probably too late. Now then, even at the very high asking price it's sitting at, I still think it's very well worth it. And it all comes down to its really great comfort and extreme versatility. The comfort is obvious, as I can use it for hours on end without any problems at all. And when it comes to gaming, I can basically play any game efficiently, and depending on what game I want to play, I can just switch out the side buttons and basically I'm good to go. And the side panels aren't even limited to just gaming, because you can essentially set any of these buttons to like different functions and applications, such as in photo editing or video editing, just to make your life easy. It's about how you play it out with this kind of thing. Extreme versatility, which further expanded if you talk about like the connectivity that it provides, considering it can go wireless, wired, or even Bluetooth, which is fantastic because this allows this to be an end-all be-all mouse. I do have one major problem with this mouse, and it has to do with the cable. It's micro USB. It's been designed to essentially almost be proprietary, which I think is ridiculous, when it should have probably have been USB-C and all the way out here, so you can use any USB-C cable we want. But I guess we can't win everything, It's just kind of sucks when it comes to Razer designing that part of it every single time for some reason. Anyway, other than that, this is like the perfect high versatility mouse out there, especially for me. Will it be for you? Who knows? Maybe. If you want to buy this mouse, I'm gonna leave a link in the description, and as well as a link for the mouse dock chroma and the promo code in case you forgot what it was. Anyway, that's all I got for today. So as usual, if you like this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more content. If you didn't like the video, well, you know what to do. That said, I hope I've helped you out with your purchase decision or stopped you from purchasing it because it's really expensive. And guess I'll see you guys next time.